When I was a young housewife in the 1950s, we never threw good beef dripping away. We used it for chips, roast potatoes, frying, sometimes even on toast. And that was only one of dozens of clever kitchen tricks we relied on. Some have almost completely disappeared today, even though they can still save you money and work surprisingly well. So, put the kettle on and let me show you 30 old British cooking tricks we used to swear by. Number 1. The secret to a proper Yorkshire pudding. Let's start with the one everybody asks me about. The secret to a tall, crisp Yorkshire pudding isn't some fancy flour or a special tin. It's temperature. Your batter wants to be cold. I always mixed mine early and left it to rest in the larder for a good half hour or more. And your fat wants to be smoking hot. Get that dripping or oil in the tin until it's shimmering. Then pour the cold batter straight into the sizzling fat and shut the oven door. And here's the important bit. Don't you dare open that door to have a peek. Cold batter, hot fat, and a bit of patience. That's the whole trick, and it's never once let me down. Number 2. A pinch of bicarb for greener greens. Nobody wants a plate of grey, sad-looking cabbage. In my day, we'd add a tiny pinch of bicarbonate of soda to the water when boiling greens. Cabbage, peas, runner beans, anything that ought to be vivid green. It keeps that lovely bright colour, so the vegetables look as good as they taste. Now, a word of caution, because I'll always be honest with you. Use only the smallest pinch. Too much and your greens go soft and mushy, and it takes a little goodness out of them too. But a pinch, your veg comes out looking like something off a postcard. It's the sort of thing that makes a Sunday plate look properly appetizing. Number 3. A slice of bread to soften hard brown sugar. We've all opened the cupboard to find the brown sugar has set like a brick. In the old days, we didn't bin it and buy more. Heavens no! You pop the hardened sugar in a container or a bag with a slice of fresh bread, seal it up and leave it overnight. By morning, the sugar has drawn the moisture from the bread and gone soft and crumbly again, good as new. It works the other way too, mind. A slice of bread in with your biscuits keeps them from going hard. Bread really was the handywoman of the kitchen, and we found 100 uses for it. Number 4. A wooden spoon across the pot. This one looks like an old wives' tale, but I promise you it works. When you've got a pan of potatoes or pasta threatening to boil over and make a mess all down your cooker, lay a wooden spoon flat across the top of the pot. As the froth rises up and touches the cool, dry wood, the bubbles burst and settle back down. It buys you time to turn the heat down before it makes a nuisance of itself. I've saved many a clean hob this way. And a wooden spoon never seems to get too hot to touch either, which is more than I can say for those metal ones. Number 5. Always warm the teapot first. Now, we are British, so of course we're going to talk about tea. Before you spoon in a single leaf, swill a little hot water round the empty pot, give it a swirl, and tip it away. Warming the pot first means the boiling water you pour on the leaves stays properly hot, and you get a stronger, better brew for it. Pour boiling water into a cold pot, and you've lost half your heat before you've begun. It takes 5 seconds, and it's the difference between a decent cup and a proper one. My mother would have had something to say if she'd caught me skipping it. Number 6. A splash of vinegar for poached eggs. A neat poached egg used to be considered a real test of a cook. The trick we all used was a splash of ordinary white vinegar in the simmering water. The vinegar helps the white set quickly around the yolk instead of spreading out into wispy threads all over the pan. Give the water a gentle swirl before you slip the egg in, and it wraps itself up into a tidy little parcel. Don't overdo the vinegar or you'll taste it. A spoonful in a good pan of water is plenty. Serve it on hot buttered toast and you'd think you were in a fine hotel. Number 7. Rest the meat before you carve. If there's one thing that separates a good roast from a dry one, it's this. When your joint comes out of the oven, don't go slicing straight into it, however hungry everyone is. Cover it loosely with foil or a clean cloth if you're old-fashioned like me, and leave it be for a good 10 or 15 minutes. Resting lets all those juices settle back through the meat instead of running out onto the board the moment you cut. The result is tender, moist meat every single time. It also gives you a few minutes to make your gravy and get everyone to the table. Patience, again. You'll notice that's half of cooking. Number 8. Reviving a stale loaf. Bread went stale far quicker before all these preservatives, so we learned to bring it back to life rather than waste it. Take a loaf that's gone hard, run it briefly under the cold tap or sprinkle it with a little water, then pop it into a hot oven for a few minutes. The steam softens the inside while the crust crisps up, and out it comes, tasting almost freshly baked. It won't keep long after that, so eat it the same day, but it beats throwing good bread in the bin. A stale loaf was never rubbish in our house. It was a meal waiting to happen. Number 9. A cut lemon to clean the chopping board. After you've been chopping onions and garlic, that smell gets right into a wooden board, and your hands with it. The old remedy was a cut lemon. Rub half a lemon over the board, and if you like, sprinkle a bit of salt down first to give it some scrubbing power. The lemon cuts through the smell and lifts stains at the same time, and it leaves everything smelling fresh and clean. Rub the same lemon on your fingers to shift the onion smell too. Cheaper than any fancy spray, and you can use the other half in your cooking. Waste not, want not, as we always said. Number 10. Mustard powder in your cheese sauce. A cheese sauce can turn stringy and greasy if you're not careful, and it can taste a bit flat. Our answer was a good pinch of English mustard powder stirred into the flour and butter before the milk went in. You'd never guess it was there. It doesn't make the sauce taste of mustard, but it lifts the flavour of the cheese and helps everything come together smooth and glossy. It's the little secret behind a proper cauliflower cheese or a macaroni that everyone asks seconds of. Half a teaspoon is all it takes. Try it once and you'll never make a cheese sauce without it again. Number 11. Slake your cornflour first. Lumpy gravy is a heartbreak after all that effort on the roast. The trick to a smooth one is never to tip cornflour straight into hot liquid. Instead, mix it with a little cold water in a cup first. We called it slaking, until it's a smooth paste with no lumps at all. Then stir that paste into your simmering gravy and watch it thicken beautifully. The same goes for thickening a stew or a sauce. It's such a simple thing, but it's the difference between a glossy, velvety gravy and one full of nasty little lumps. Cold water first, every time. Write it on your heart. Number 12. A potato to rescue over-salted soup. We've all had a heavy hand with the salt cellar now and then. When the soup or stew came out too salty, we'd peel a raw potato, cut it into a few chunks and drop it into the pot to simmer for a while before fishing it out. The potato soaks up some of the liquid and softens that harsh, salty edge, and the extra bulk helps to balance things out. It's not magic, and it won't fix a truly ruined pot, but for a soup that's just a touch too salty, it works a treat. And you can mash the potato up and eat it after. No waste there either. Number 13. A pinch of sugar in tomato sauce. Tinned tomatoes, and even fresh ones, can have a sharp, acidic bite to them that catches at the back of the throat. The old cook's answer was the smallest pinch of sugar stirred into the sauce as it simmers. It doesn't make the sauce sweet. It simply rounds off that sourness and brings out the natural richness of the tomatoes. My mother did it, her mother did it, and I've never stopped. A pinch of sugar and a knob of butter at the end will turn a sharp, thin tomato sauce into something you'd be proud to serve. It costs next to nothing, and it makes all the difference. Number 14. Salt your aubergine. Aubergines weren't so common when I was young, but we learned the trick soon enough. Slice or cube your aubergine, lay it out and sprinkle it well with salt. Leave it for half an hour and you'll see beads of moisture come to the surface. Pat it all dry and you've drawn out the bitterness and, just as usefully, stopped the aubergine from drinking up all your oil like a sponge when you fry it. It cooks up golden and silky instead of greasy and bitter. Modern varieties aren't as bitter as they once were, but salting still gives you a far better result in the pan. Number 15. Keep everything cold for pastry. Good short crust pastry is all about keeping cool the ingredients and the cook. Use cold butter, cold water, and try to handle the dough as little as possible so the warmth of your hands doesn't melt the fat. I used to run my wrists under the cold tap before rubbing the butter into the flour, and I'd work quickly with my fingertips, lifting the mixture to let air in. Cold fat is what gives you that lovely, short, crumbly, melt-in-the-mouth pastry. Warm hands and too much fussing give you something tough and hard. So keep it cold, keep it quick, and don't overwork it. Number 16. A bay leaf in the flour jar. Before everything came sealed in plastic, weevils and little bugs were a real bother in the pantry. The old trick was to tuck a dried bay leaf into your flour, your rice, and your dry goods. Bugs don't care for the smell of bay, so it helps keep them away and your dry stores clean. It does no harm to the flour and adds no flavour. I still pop one in the flour tin out of habit, and a couple in the rice jar too. A few pennies worth of bay leaves keeps your cupboard tidy and saves you tipping out a whole bag of spoiled flour. Number 17. A damp tea towel under the bowl. When you're whisking eggs or beating a batter by hand, and we did everything by hand, mind, the bowl slides all over the worktop and drives you to distraction. The fix is a damp tea towel folded and laid under the bowl. It grips the surface and holds everything steady, so you've got two hands free for the work and no chasing the bowl round the kitchen. It's such a small thing, but it's one of those tricks that makes you wonder how you managed without it. Wring the towel out well so it's just damp, not dripping, and it'll stay put good and firm. Number 18. Revive limp lettuce in ice water. Salad leaves gone floppy and sad in the bottom of the fridge. Don't throw them out. Drop them into a bowl of very cold water, ice water if you can manage it, with a small pinch of sugar, and leave them for half an hour. The leaves drink the water back up and come out crisp and perky again, ready for the table. It works for limp celery and carrots too. In the old days, a wilted lettuce was a thing to be rescued, not binned, and this little soak brings them right back to life. Shake them dry well before you dress them. Number 19. Stand your herbs in water. Fresh herbs like parsley, coriander and mint don't last 5 minutes shoved in the salad drawer. Treat them like a little bunch of flowers instead. Trim the ends, stand them upright in a glass or jar with an inch of water in the bottom, and pop them on the windowsill or in the fridge. They'll stay fresh and green for a week or more instead of going slimy in a day or two. Change the water when it clouds. A bunch of parsley wasn't cheap, even in my day, so we made it last. It looks rather pretty on the sill too. Number 20. Shock your boiled eggs in cold water. 2 little troubles with boiled eggs: the shell that won't come off cleanly, and that ugly grey-green ring round the yolk. Both come down to what you do the moment they're cooked. As soon as your eggs are boiled, lift them straight into a bowl of cold water, or run the cold tap over them, and let them cool right down. The cold shock stops the cooking, prevents that grey ring, and helps the shell peel away in big, clean pieces, instead of taking half the egg with it. Give the egg a little roll on the worktop to crack the shell all over, and it'll slip off a treat. Number 21. Cream of tartar for your egg whites. If you were making meringues or a soufflé, cream of tartar was your best friend. Just a pinch added to your egg whites as you whisk them helps them stiffen up faster and hold their peaks, and gives you a lovely, stable, glossy foam that won't collapse on you. It's what stops your meringues weeping and going flat. Most kitchens don't keep a tub of it these days, but the old bakers among us wouldn't be without it. A squeeze of lemon juice does much the same job if you're caught short. Whisk in a clean, dry, grease-free bowl, and you'll get the best rise. Number 22. A slice of bread to keep a cake moist. There's our friend bread again, earning its keep. If you've a cake that's cut and you want to keep it from drying out at the edges, press a slice of fresh bread against the cut face, and it'll take on the staleness instead of the cake. Store it in the tin like that, and the sponge stays lovely and moist for days. The bread goes hard and dry, the cake stays soft. A fair trade. We hated a dry cake, and with baking being the treat it was, you didn't want your effort spoiling before it was eaten. Replace the bread when it hardens. Number 23. Dredge your stewing meat in seasoned flour. Before a single piece of beef went into the stew pot, we tossed it in flour seasoned with salt and pepper. 2 things happen. First, that floured surface browns up beautifully when you fry it off, and all that lovely colour means flavour. Second, the flour that comes off into the pot thickens your gravy as the stew cooks, so you get a rich, glossy sauce without any fuss at the end. Brown the meat in batches so it colours properly rather than stewing in its own juices. It's a 2 jobs in 1 trick, and it's the backbone of every good stew and casserole I've ever made. Number 24. Acidulated water for peeled potatoes and apples. Peel your potatoes or slice your apples too far ahead, and they go an unappetizing brown before you can blink. The old fix was to drop them into a bowl of cold water with a good squeeze of lemon or a splash of vinegar in it. The acid stops them discolouring, so you can peel your spuds in the morning ready for dinner, or prepare your apples for a pie without them turning. Don't leave potatoes soaking too long, or you'll lose some of their starch. An hour or 2 is grand. It's how we got ahead of ourselves on a busy cooking day. Number 25. Always warm your plates. Here's one that slipped away almost entirely, and it's a shame. You go to all that trouble cooking a hot dinner, then serve it onto a cold plate, and it's lukewarm by the 3rd mouthful. We always warmed the plates in the bottom of the oven, over a pan of simmering water, or under a hot tap and dried off. Hot food on a warm plate stays hot right through the meal, and a Sunday roast in particular deserves it. Mind you don't burn your fingers taking them to the table. It's a small courtesy that makes any meal feel that bit more special. Number 26. A milk bottle for a rolling pin. Now this one takes me right back. Not every kitchen had a proper rolling pin, so we made do, and a clean glass milk bottle did the job beautifully. Better still, you could fill it with cold water, and the chill of the glass helped keep your pastry cool as you rolled it, which, as I've told you, is half the battle. Making do and mending was a way of life for us. You used what you had. Even now, if I'm caught without my rolling pin, I'll reach for a bottle without a second thought. It's a good reminder that you don't need a drawer full of gadgets to cook well. Number 27. An ice cube to lift the fat off. A stew or a soup can come out with a slick of grease sitting on top, and nobody wants that. If you've time, the best way is to chill it and lift the set fat straight off. But if you're serving straight away, wrap an ice cube in a bit of kitchen paper and skim it across the surface. The fat clings to the cold cube and comes away with it. You can also lay a slice of bread or a paper towel flat on the surface for a moment to soak up the grease, then lift it off. A cleaner, lighter dish and no fuss about it. Number 28. Bicarb for cheap cuts and burnt pans. Bicarbonate of soda earned its place in every kitchen. A little rubbed into cheaper, tougher cuts of meat, left a short while and then rinsed off, helps tenderize them so they're not so chewy. A boon when you couldn't afford the best steak. And when you'd burnt the bottom of a pan black, as we all did, you'd sprinkle in bicarb, add a bit of water and bring it to the boil. It lifts the burnt-on mess so it scrubs away with ease, saving your knuckles and your good pan. 1 cheap tub, a dozen jobs. That was the way we liked things. Number 29. The float test for a fresh egg. Before we all had dates stamped on everything, you had to know for yourself whether an egg was still good. So we'd lower it gently into a glass of water. A fresh egg sinks and lies flat on its side at the bottom. An older one stands up on its end, and one that floats right to the top has gone off and belongs in the bin, not your breakfast. It's to do with the little air pocket inside growing as the egg ages. Simple, reliable, and it saved me many a nasty surprise. Even now, with all the dates and stamps, I'll do the float test if I'm in any doubt. Number 30. Save every last scrap. And that brings me to the most important trick of all, the one that ties all the others together. In my day, nothing was wasted. The bones and vegetable trimmings went into the stock pot to make soup. The bacon rind flavoured the beans. The dripping was saved, as I told you at the start. Stale bread became breadcrumbs, bread pudding, or a thickener for soup. Every peeling, every scrap, every drop of fat had a second life waiting for it. It wasn't just thrift, though heaven knows we needed to be thrifty. It was respect for good food and the work that went into it. Cook like that, and you'll waste less, spend less, and I dare say enjoy your cooking a good deal more. There you have it. 30 old British kitchen tricks that still work every bit as well today as they did in my little kitchen all those years ago. Some you'll know from your own mother or grandmother. Some may be brand new. But every one of them earns its place, saving money, saving waste, and turning out food to be proud of. So next time you're at the stove, try one. Let me know in the comments which you already knew and which you'll be trying. Now, I think it's time I put the kettle on. Take care and happy cooking.